So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I actually meant to re-listen to the opening chapters of volume 2 to kind of remind myself of what I read because it's been a few days. Like I recorded that pretty early and got it up for you guys and I was like, "Crap. Why don't I remember what happened?" So cuz we usually do a quick recap, but I honestly do not remember. So I'm just gonna have to like flip through the pages. So, okay, one thing I do remember because I started listening to a little bit of it when I was trying to find a section to advertise on TikTok. I do remember us opening up with like Suh-chun and Zhang Yuwen, and Suh-chun is having problems with his job, and his boss or whatever, his friend thinks he's making too much money, and he's a bit sad about it or upset about it. At least that's what Zhang Yuwen surmised from reading their text messages. But the thing that I wanted to talk about from that previous chapter that I remember is actually the stuff with Jung Weize and Chang Jinxing. So, if you guys don't already know, if I haven't said it, Jung Weize isn't really my favorite character. I don't dislike him, but he's just not it for me. However, opening volume 2 and seeing the way that Chang Jinxing treats him makes me feel really, really bad for him because he's a young, hopeless romantic and he really just wants love. Okay. He was bullied as a little kid and now he's an adult and being bullied by Chang Jinxing, who's playing with his heartstrings. And I'm just like, Chang Jinxing, please get it together. I know that Zhang Yuwen said not to sleep with anyone, but also, could you not be a fuckboy to anyone? Because that can also ruin the dynamic in the household. What are you doing? So, anyway, that was that. Very upsetting. And then he also is now talking to this online guy. We're going to call him Mr. Whiskey or just Whiskey. And it's on his female live streaming account. And he's falling for this guy because this guy has been very supportive. And this guy clearly was a douchebag for sure to his wife because he was over in another country working and cheated on her. Meanwhile, she cheated on him as well. And he came back and they got divorce papers. So it's like you're already falling for someone else who is showing they might not be a good person for you relationship wise. I don't know. I really don't know. Also, it's doomed, maybe. I mean, it could work out, but he's thinking you're a woman and you're not. So that's either going to go really bad or I don't know. Maybe you'll find out and be okay, but like, I don't think so. And then the last part, you said it just spells disaster to me, right? Like, yes, there are three options. You can continue to pretend to be a girl on your live streams. You guys never meet and he continues to support you. Or he finds out you're a guy and he completely drops the support. Or strangely enough, he finds out that you're a guy and sticks around. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's possible after they talk so much, since they've exchanged numbers, they talk so much and get to know each other. And I guess those feelings develop. So then for Mr. Whiskey, it would be a heavy blow to find out that, oh, this is a guy, but at the same time, like those feelings are already established. So I guess there's room for it to work out, but it really depends because some people, they're straight and they're just straight. That's it. And as soon as they find out, oh, you're not what I expected, no, this isn't for me. Yes, it's definitely a huge gamble. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Then the last thing we have is Chun Chun is ready to get his business started. He is ready to give this one more go. And if things fail, then he's going to go back home and open a shop. So he's got three places he's looking at to open up his gym, but he's horny. So what does he do? He thinks with his lower head and goes to have a hookup. Okay. He goes to have a hookup with this Mr. Elite guy. And it's clear that there's some kind of connection between them. So they're going to see each other again. We'll see what comes out of that. We finished with that. And so, yes, Mr. Elite decided to exchange actual contact info, getting outside of the app. So now we're moving on to chapter 31. That is where we are starting. Chapter 31. Whiskey. Jung Weize's #1 fan had already dropped almost 30,000 on him. That's so much. Jung Weize's anxiety soared as he watched his savings grow, but at the same time, he found himself falling for whiskey. Yeah, I'm promiscuous. What about it? Zhang Weize began to look deep inside himself. Aside from Jinxing, he'd be able to accept any of his roommates if they were willing to be with him. Zhang Yuwen, Yanjun, Chahng, and even their friend on the outside, Suh-chun. Anytime Zhang Weize laid eyes on one of them, he found them handsome, and then he'd glance at another and think, hey, he's not so bad either. Okay. But they weren't interested in him, and they were all out of his league. Why? Because I'm ugly, of course, and a sissy to boot. Zhang Weize knew that they wanted to date guys, not men who looked like women. Maybe there were men out there who looked effeminate, who liked effeminate guys, but he was sure they'd preferred the pretty and delicate ones. He'd probably never have such good fortune. Even casual hookups turned their noses up at him. John Waits' life was a series of self-inflicted blows. In the past, he was too busy working to think about it, but now that he was staying alone in his room most of the time, he was becoming increasingly withdrawn. Sometimes he didn't even want to leave when he heard his housemates chatting in the living room. Everyone had seen him fail to woo Jinxing, which was embarrassing beyond reason. He felt like a toad caught lusting after a swan that had its humiliation memorialized by a nature photographer. He only felt like himself when he put on his wig, applied makeup, patted his chest, turned on his voice changer, and sat in front of the camera every night to wave to viewers and live stream as a girl. Being a girl was the only time he felt authentically him. Oh, it's right here. I'm going to put a note here because I feel like this is going to be a talking point. Oh my God. Oh, this is so sad. Ugh. Y'all, I really hate this for Zhang Weize. That's Stacy said, oh, that's sad actually. Yes, it's so freaking sad. I really want to cry. Why do I want to cry? This is not cool. Okay. Continuing to read. But Zhang Weize didn't want to undergo gender reassignment surgery to become a girl. Maybe he just didn't want to give up the little bit of privilege he enjoyed in society as a man. He also felt like he wasn't entirely a girl, like his emotions weren't as delicate, and he didn't want to be a weakling who depended entirely on others. Of course, being a woman didn't equate to being dependent, but Zhang Weize didn't put a lot of thought into that. Lately, Chang Jinxing had been leaving home early in the morning and returning later at night. Zhang Weize decided to avoid crossing paths with him. Every time he saw Chang Jinxing, it hurt. Seeing him for a full week would be enough to break his heart. Their New Year's Eve kiss had been a beautiful moment, but it was ultimately just a consolation prize, a thank you for participating, that couldn't be any more apparent to him now. He began to open up to Whiskey. Whiskey, for his part, sensed something while Zhang Weize was nursing his heartbreak and seized his opportunity. Zhang Weize poured his heart out, telling Whiskey about his ex, a scumbag player who had hurt him. He embellished the story, drawing inspiration from both Chang Jinxing and the straight guy to fuse them into a character so intricate and conceiving a plot so novel that even Zhang Yuwen, a movie director, would have been impressed. Sometimes he even burst into tears while they talked. At which point, Whiskey would frantically send him money and soothe him with promises to meet, date, and marry him, to never abandon him. Jung Weize bought into it so fully, he almost forgot about his real identity. Weirdly enough, the only thing stopping them from meeting up turned out to be Whiskey's looks and height, which fell short of Jung Weize's requirements for the perfect partner. After rejecting yet another of Whiskey's requests to meet, Jung Weize ended his live stream and sighed. Oh, right. I'm a guy, he remembered suddenly. What a close shave. I almost agreed to meet him just now. He opened his phone and swiped through his chat history with Whiskey. The few photos he'd sent to Whiskey and all the moments from Jung Weize's life that he'd shared with him. Whiskey was smart to have sent a few photos of himself from his student days, when he was fair, slim, and fresh-faced. While his facial features weren't exactly handsome, young men always had a vibrant air of vitality to them. Those photos further cemented the link in Jung Weize's mind between the young Whiskey and the current, rugged 30-something self. Are you angry? Jung Weize asked him. This was the third time Whiskey had asked to meet him. After a significant delay, Whiskey sent him a long voice message. No, baby, it's not that. Listen to me. You keep saying you aren't ready, and I get that you might actually be afraid of men, but I'm not like that. I love you, baby. I love you. I didn't call you my wife just for fun. I know you're different from the other streamers. Look, I don't even go to other live stream channels anymore. As long as you come, I'll show up on time. I know you hide it well, but there's a sadness in your eyes. Give me a chance, please. I'll cherish you. From the moment I saw you, I knew you were the one. You can't keep going on like this. The way you're living, always cooped up in your room. I don't know what your besties are like, but how can you just stay home all day and not come out to face society? It's not good for you to eat takeout every day either. You still got to pay rent. How is that little bit of income you have enough? It was so easy to lose yourself in a role when you had been playing it for a long time, no matter who you were. Hearing Whiskey's words, Zheng Weize buried himself in his blanket and cried. Whiskey sent another voice message. I want to meet you and talk about living together. As your hubby, I'll support you. Give me a chance. I want to take care of you and protect you. Don't live stream anymore. Whether you have depression or some other illness, it's treatable. I believe you'll slowly get better. Oh, right. I have depression too. Jung Weize had completely forgotten that he'd been playing the sympathy card, using depression as a cover to deceive Whiskey. I'm depressed. Jung Weize cried himself a river. His tears soaked through his pillow. Everything Whiskey said was so touching, especially that I'll support you. It hit Jung Weize right in the heart, where he was the most vulnerable. Tearfully, Jung Weize replied with a voice message of his own. I'll think about it. Shortly after he hit send, though, it hit him. Shit! I forgot. Shit! I forgot about the voice changer. I was waiting for a moment like this to happen. That's so awful. Okay, I guess we're about to see what's gonna happen. Panicking, he considered retracting the message, but if Whiskey had already heard it, then withdrawing and replacing a message in a guy's voice with one in a girl's voice would only make things worse. It would substantiate any suspicions Whiskey might have. But amazingly enough, Whiskey noticed nothing amiss. Maybe he thought her voice had gone all hoarse from crying, or maybe that she'd turned on the text to speech function. Are you crying? Sweetheart, baby, are you crying? Zhang Weize quickly adjusted his wig and took a photo of himself on the bed, looking all sad and red eyed. Yeah, he replied. My heart's breaking, Whiskey responded. Like every other day, he spent the night on an emotional roller coaster. Zhang Weize was exhausted. He had lied, and now he had to lie even more to cover it up. But he'd fallen for this straight guy, touched by his sincerity and his money. Never in his life had anyone treated him this generously. Whiskey pulled out his trump card. I know you're afraid to have sex with men. You don't have to do anything. We can just talk. And you can just let me hold you while we sleep. That's all I ask for. I can wait till you're ready. Zhang Weize couldn't deny it. In that moment, his heart was a little swayed. The next day, in all seriousness, Zhang Weize asked Chahng, do you think straight men can be turned gay? You'll have to ask Zhang Yuwen, said Chahng. He's the only one who's turned a straight guy gay recently. Uh, I'm not joking, Zhang Weize said. Look me in the eye and answer me. I doubt it. Always seems like the ones who blah, blah, blah. Always seems like the ones who are turned weren't actually straight in the first place and already had a natural inclination toward guys. Why? You find yourself another straight guy to crush on? Nah, just curious. A devilish thought was growing in Zhang Wei's mind. Meanwhile, Chun Hong was chewing on a pencil and looking over the floor plans of some potential locations for his gym. Zhang Weize hugged his arm and rested his head on his shoulder, seeking a moment of comfort. Chun Hong's physique made him feel secure and protected. Chun Hong could tell that something had happened to Zhang Weize recently, something beyond his relationship with Chang Jinxing. He kept cooping himself up in his room. The other roommates were all worried about him and would have gone knocking on his door if he hadn't emerged from his room this week. Luckily, Yuwen was hosting the next gathering, and he planned to bring everyone to the riverside for a barbecue, which would make an opportunity for them to socialize. What would a gay guy do? Zheng Weize asked, feigning detached curiosity, if he wanted to convert a straight guy. He would go around asking questions, just like you are, Chun Hong replied without looking up. Zhang Weize was left speechless. He wanted Chun Hong's opinion, but he was too shy to ask outright, and he also didn't want to show Chun Hong a photo of Whiskey. He was embarrassed that Whiskey wasn't up to scratch, especially compared to Chang Jinxing, his previous target. I had a client who was in the same situation, Chun Hong said. Oh, how so? Maybe some straight guys might have a natural inclination to be gay, but they just haven't realized it. Some straight guys weren't exactly straight by nature. If they never met a man who went out of his way to win them over, they would perhaps go on, get married, have children, and live their entire lives as heterosexuals. But under the right conditions, brotherly affection could shift to something more, and they would be reluctantly converted. And once they got a taste of it, there would be no turning back. At first, Chun Hong was going to bring up Yuwen as a classic example, but after some thought, he mentioned another friend instead. He had a client who enjoyed online games, and in one of those games, he met a girl and spent a lot of money on her. Zhang Weize was shocked at the similarity to his own situation. Was the girl actually a guy in disguise? Zhang Weize asked. Did they end up together? No idea. Chun Hong continued to contemplate his renovation plans. Eventually, the girl couldn't keep up the lie anymore and revealed the truth when they finally met. At first, Chun Hong's client blew his top, but they had forged an emotional bond, and it was impossible for him to just let go. Instead, the guy started treating him like a buddy, and surprisingly, they went on to become good friends who often played basketball and went swimming together. As to whether they ended up as a couple, Chun Hong didn't know. Chun Hong was also reminded of how his own lover deceived him. But be careful. Some straight guys will go crazy with rage and beat you up, Chun Hong added, dropping Zhang Weize a subtle reminder not to pin his hopes on the straight guy. The risk was too great. Really? Zhang Weize asked worriedly. I guess. Chunhung wasn't sure. He hadn't really felt like beating the other guy up when he first met him. The idea of getting violent only crossed his mind when the guy threatened him with compromising videos. Otherwise, he might have ended up becoming friends with him. He glanced at Zhang Weize. It's not a given. It depends on the emotional bond between two people. If the relationship has always been good, they could maybe stay friends. It also depends on the other person's personality. Are you dating a straight guy online? No, Jung Waitsa flatly lied. A good friend of mine is asking for my opinion. He's gay too. Tell your friend not to meet him. He should keep his feelings to himself. But the straight guy has sent him a lot of money. Then he should give it back or buy some gifts for him. Chun Hong had already seen through the asking for a friend ruse, but he didn't want to expose Jung Waitsa, so he tried his best to dissuade him. But Jung Waitsa only heard what he wanted to hear. But he's already spent a lot of it, he said. After returning to his room, he sat himself down to trawl the web for cases similar to his own and typed, turning a straight guy gay into the search bar. Unfortunately, information on the internet suffered from survivorship bias. Only those who'd succeeded stepped forward to share their experiences, while those who were beaten up tended to keep quiet. And what he found gave Zheng Weize a confidence boost. The seed of a devilish thought that had been planted earlier in his mind sprouted and began to grow. Very dangerous territory. What are you up to, dear? Whiskey's voice message carried a hint of a smile. It's a beautiful sunny day today. That afternoon, Whiskey sent Zhang Weize a photo from a park. He lived in a city not far from Jiangdong, which he helped his older sister in her small business dealing with wholesale laminating film. Now, he was out walking his sister's dog. Zhang Weize turned on the voice changer. Taking a nap? Whiskey switched to text message. Not going out? Gotta have afternoon tea with my girlfriends later, Zhang Weize responded. When do I get to have afternoon tea with you? Third time's a charm, I hope. Zhang Weize smiled. Over the days, he'd been thinking about how to handle the situation with Whiskey, and he concluded that he couldn't keep going like this. Even if it all went to shit, they had to be honest with each other. But whether to meet Whiskey as a guy or a girl, that was the question that stumped him the most. If he met Whiskey as a guy, he'd have to apologize to him and seek his forgiveness. Whiskey might be shocked and cut off contact with him for a time, but if he reached out to Whiskey first, he might be able to mend the relationship and slowly turn him gay, and then they'd eventually end up together as a couple. But what if he met Whiskey as a girl? Continue to deceive him in real life? That would save him from having to deal Whiskey such a huge blow all at once. Or he could dress in women's clothes and tell Whiskey that he was a cross-dressing bottom. John Waiter had seen something sparking between the straight photographers at comic conventions and the cross-dressing males cosplayers there. After thinking it over, he decided that the second option would result in the least shock to Whiskey. He would meet Whiskey dressed as a girl and let Whiskey discover the truth on his own. That way, Whiskey would be less likely to suffer a mental breakdown. And Whiskey could also just see him as a girl, couldn't he? He could disguise his appearance. But what about his voice? Tell Whiskey he had a cold? What about his Adam's apple? John Waitze looked in the mirror. His Adam's apple wasn't all that prominent. He could hide it with makeup and a scarf. The best time to meet would be at night, when the light wasn't too bright. That would reduce the risk of exposure. Except, say he kept up with the lie. What if Whiskey started getting all touchy-feely? If he came to Jiangdong, would he stay in a hotel? And if Zheng Weize were to visit him there, would he want to have sex? He did say he didn't want to, but then again, maybe Whiskey wouldn't notice if they turned off the lights. This thought made Zheng Weize incredibly excited. Having sorted out his plans, Zheng Weize suddenly felt hopeful. Whiskey was a gentle guy, and Jung Weize had fallen for his tenderness. He was sure that even if Whiskey discovered his real gender, their emotional bond was strong enough that they would continue to be friends. I love you too, Jung Weize declared in his heart. So when Whiskey asked him to meet for the fourth time, Jung Weize agreed on the condition that he chose the time and venue because he had depression and social anxiety and he wanted to avoid crowded places. Then, Jung Weize prepared to face the greatest challenge of his life. That was a whirlwind of a chapter. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin, honestly. Like, Jung Weize, I'm not liking this at all. And I don't mean like I'm not liking the writing or the story. I'm just not liking where things are going for Jung Weize, and I'm actually deeply concerned about him. Uh, just, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Like, there are things I could say, but I just feel like I need some time to digest everything. And I don't want to say too much because there are some things that I feel like would probably be a great talking point for when we get to the live discussion about volume 2. But everything is just really concerning. You know, him, you said it scares me a lot right now. Exactly. You know, just I do think that the advice that Chen gave is actually very vital. You know, him saying you shouldn't meet this guy because things could go bad, and not just go bad as in he finds out he doesn't like you, it ends and you're heartbroken, but he actually mentioned the danger that Jung Weize could potentially be putting himself in because there are some people who are violent, and this has nothing to do with homophobia. This has nothing to do with a closeted gay or anything like that. This has everything to do with if this man, Mr. Whiskey, I'm sorry, just Whiskey, is falling for you for real. And he thinks you're a woman, and then you guys meet in person, and he finds out you're actually a man, whether you're cross-dressed as one or you just show up as a man, that could send him into a rage. You are messaging him on the phone. You're talking to him via a live stream, but you have no idea what he is like as a human being for real, for real. And that's scary. Really, really scary. I just I feel bad for him because he's young. And don't get me wrong, not all young people are doing this kind of thing. But he's young, and based on the experiences that he's had, this is why he is shaped this way. And it's concerning. I just I don't know. You said, well, considering he's young and all, but then again, yeah, it's just too reckless, very reckless. I don't know. I think the reason why this is like getting me so hard is just really quick personal story. Have I ever dressed up as a man to deceive someone? No, I haven't. Or, you know, tried to be in a dress as a man to I don't know, deceive a lady into being a lesbian. No, but I get, maybe this is why it's getting me, or maybe just reading things out loud makes me feel things even more. But when I was 18, I graduated high school. Something happened between my mother and I went to live with my grandpa. Now, before moving to live with my grandpa, I got a text message from someone who clearly was reaching out to someone else, but they had the wrong number. And so I messaged that person and I was like, sorry, wrong number. That person, you know, this isn't their phone number anymore. And I have no idea how we ended up talking to each other. Like, we just started texting each other on a consistent basis, you know? And this guy, he was somewhere between 32 and 36. I don't remember what age he was, but it was in that bracket. And he told me his age. I told him my age. And we kept talking every day, getting to know each other. And mind you, at this point in my life, I had never had sex before. And I was really curious about it, actually. And so we were talking, went to go live with my grandpa, who was a lot less strict than my mother and her husband. And it was much, much easier for me to get out. So I lied to him and told him that I was going to spend the night with my best friend, but I actually went to go meet this guy in person. And we met at the mall that I worked at. We walked around for a bit. We went to the Del Mar Loop, which was, you know, where I live, a popular place where there are lots of stores and everything. And we just chatted and whatnot. And then we went to a hotel. And what would happen at the hotel? Obviously, we were supposed to have sex with each other. But I got scared and I was like, okay, I don't think I'm actually ready to do this. So he listened and we didn't do anything. But then he tried again. And, I was trying to get myself into the mood. I'm like, okay, Kamaria, you could do this. Maria, you could do this. But I gave up again. I was like, okay, I can't. I'm too scared. And he was like, okay, we don't have to do anything. So we actually went to sleep. We didn't do anything. But then the next morning, he tried again. Or I'll say we tried again. I'm sorry. We tried again. And I still couldn't do it. And so I asked him if he could just take me home. And so he did. He drove me near my home and then drove off, and I walked the rest of the way. I mean, he could have just followed, but I didn't want him to know exactly where I lived. And so I guess thinking about that experience, and even though everything turned out okay, thinking about what could have happened, maybe that's why listening to this and it just is scary for me because I remember I admitted the truth to my papa and he I'm not going to go through the whole story. I admitted the truth to him. I also admitted the truth to my mother. And of course, she was livid. And, she was like, what if he didn't listen to you? What if you ran into a guy, a 32-year-old man who got you into that room and you said no, and he decided that your no didn't matter, And so it just not saying that online relationships are bad or anything like that, but really, truly, and not saying that younger people getting with older people is bad, but I'm just kind of really concerned and scared for Zhang Weize in this moment because this whiskey guy is a lot older than him, and Zhang Weize is easily manipulated. He's very gullible. He's young, and as he called himself a sissy, he's not very strong, and he probably can't defend himself very well. And I'm just scared. Like, that's all I can say about that. Anyway, you just said it hits close to home. Yeah, it does. And I'm glad things turn out the way that they did for me. But I really am scared for Jung Wei-tzu. And this is a Danmei novel. I mean, this is the most angst we've gotten. There are a lot of fluffy Danmei, but honestly, in Danmei, I just kind of expect tragedies. So that's the other reason I'm like really scared. So enough with the storytelling. But I appreciate Chun Hong looking out for his friend. Like, you need to give that money back, or you need to give him some gifts, or you need to stop doing the live stream. Don't meet this guy. Very good friend. I love Chun Hong. He's a solid guy. Honestly, I think he's one of the most solid guys in this book, just like overall. When we first started reading, I was like, okay, it's just Chun Hong. But somewhere in the midst of the story, he's become one of my top characters. Like, of course, Zhang Weize is number one. And then, I don't know. I think I'll put Chun Hong in second place and then Yanjuan right behind him. If Yanjuan had, I don't know, done something on this caliber or something monumental, maybe he'd be in for second place, but Chun Hong's in second place. Same here. So now let's go ahead and move on. Chapter 32. Chang Jinxing gradually grew accustomed to work on the set. Every day, Chun Hong gave him a ride on his motorbike to the meeting point. He greeted his colleagues, brought his mentor a thermos filled with coffee, and busied himself around the set. Thanks to his good looks and industry connections, everyone was friendly to him, and he used his skill at reading people, honed from all those years of playing the eunuch, to charm the first and second camera operators. In return, Wang Botao generously taught him a few things. Of course, Wang Botao, as a veteran cameraman, believed the old saying that teaching the apprentice starves the master. But He had a hunch that Chang Jinxing was a young director being trained by some big shot and wasn't actually out to make a living in cinematography. Cinematography is tough work, Wang Botao lamented to Chang Jinxing, but it's also rewarding, Chang Jinxing replied. Wang Botao smiled. All this for those tiny, fast rolling credits after a drama episode or film? Did viewers even notice those names? In the end, it was all about making a living. He didn't want to put a damper on the young man's dreams, though, so he simply patted him on the shoulder. Do you know Kong Yu? Wang Botao asked pensively. These days, Kong Yu's manager often came looking for Chang Jinxing, and they occasionally chatted for a bit. The talent management agency was adept at sailing where the wind blew, and someone there must have discovered who Chang Jinxing's backer was. Such a deliberate attempt to get close to someone seemed a bit odd on the surface, but it was fairly normal for the industry. We've met once before. Chang Jinxing didn't want to elaborate too much in case he accidentally outed Kong Yu. Wang Botao grinned. It's been a while since he last got a role. If Zhang Yuwen had been there, he could have explained the crew's secret lingo and doublespeak to Chang Jinxing. For example, if Wang Guotao suddenly asked about an actor, it meant that he was hinting at something about that person. Hmm. Been a while since he last got a role implied that the guy in question had no resources and was looking for people he could use as stepping stones to climb to the top. In essence, Wang Guotao was telling Chang Jinxing to watch out. But all of this flew right over Chang Jinxing's head. Huh? He seems like a good actor to me. Wang Guotao nodded and said nothing else. Filming began for the day. First up was another scene between the second male lead and his childhood friend. The director and producer rarely crossed paths on set, but this time they both walked over to the camera as if they'd agreed to do so beforehand. The director was speechless. The childhood friend's acting was horrendous. Chang Jinxing, who was watching from the side, felt so embarrassed for him that he wished he could crawl into the ground on his behalf. Finally, the producer couldn't stand it anymore. Oh my god! Do you even know how to act? Oh no, Chang Jinxing thought. The mic is going to pick up your voice. Kong Yu's expression shifted minutely, but no one had yelled cut. So he tried his best to keep going, trading lines with the internet celebrity playing his childhood friend. The actor who'd been publicly scolded pushed on too, not daring to look at the camera. You guys have remarkable mental fortitude, Chang Jinxing thought. Cut, 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 the director hollered. Step off the set and think about what your job title entails before you return. The producer sighed, and Wang Guotao stopped the camera. The director and producer stepped aside and launched into a discussion. Where's the assistant director? The producer asked. Doing the casting for another drama, the director replied. This isn't working. We have to replace him. I'm about to die of secondhand embarrassment. Just look at the scene. Oh, was it already deleted? He looks like he's having a seizure when he gets all worked up. How does Kong Yu even manage to keep acting with him? Thank God, Chang Jinxing thought, although he pretended he hadn't heard that. I can't take it anymore. We already spoke about replacing him last time, the director said. But we haven't found a suitable replacement, have we? Their agency said they'd give him a 2-day crash course. Then what do we do now? We don't have a replacement, and his character is in a lot of scenes. Really quickly. What if they were like, Chang Jinxing, why don't you give it a try? Okay. Let's just keep reading. I don't know. But wouldn't that be funny if Chang Jinxing was thrown into the acting bowl? So anyway, let's see. Changing it into a monodrama, the producer suggested, or pair him with a female supporting role. We'll have to call the screenwriter and see how she can change it, the director said. Oh, that's an option, Chang Jinxing thought. LOL. That's what I was thinking too. Let's see if that's what happens. I'm turning the page now. So the producer and director went over the script. Then, the director made a phone call to the screenwriter while Kong-yu and the supporting actor took a break off to the side. The actor playing the childhood friend still looked bewildered. He didn't know that his fate was already sealed and he was about to be booted out of the door. Kong-yu threw Chang Jinxing a questioning look, and Chang Jinxing gave him an imperceptible shake of his head, signaling that there was trouble. The brief moment of eye contact was all it took. Kong-yu got the idea. The screenwriter's voice came from the phone. We can't change it. He's a very popular character from the original work, and we'll need them for a fan service and publicity later. Okay, because everyone loves fan service, right? Oh, right, the producer said. I almost forgot about that. Chang Jinxing was stunned. Find someone else then, the producer said decisively. Someone handsome. Tell the assistant director he has until tomorrow morning to scrounge up a replacement. We'll shuffle things around. Shoot the birthday party first. The male lead isn't here yet, the director pointed out. Get the coordinator to call him. Oh, for God's sake! The producer was beyond frustrated. The director was just about to take another look and see if he could salvage the situation when he glimpsed Chang Jinxing out of the corner of his eye. 3 seconds later, the director asked him, Give it a shot, won't you? Give what a shot? Chang Jinxing opened the footage from the earlier scenes to show the director. Which scene? But the director was calling out to the producer. Lao Wang, come back. What do you think of him? The producer turned around. Oh, he works. Give it a try. Give what a try? Chang Jinxing asked. The role, the producer said. Where's the makeup artist? Take him to get his makeup done. Wait, what? Chang Jinxing blurted. What do you mean? You want me to act? He has a great facial structure, Wang Guotao commented, sipping the coffee Chang Jinxing had given him. Very photogenic. He has a small face, too. The producer grinned. You're right. How did I not notice before? Come on, Jinxing, help us out here. But I've never acted before. Kong-yu will lead you, and the director will walk you through the scene later. Just give it a try. If it doesn't work out, we'll find someone else. No harm in trying, right? I'll give you an extra chicken drumstick for lunch, the director added. Where's the production assistant? Get the other guy out of there. With that, the pitiful actor who played the childhood friend was sent packing. Whether Chang Jinxing was suited for the role or not, the producer had no plans to use that actor again. No. Chang Jinxing was panicking. I really can't do it. Oh my God. Why are you even asking me to do this? I'm here as the camera assistant, not an actor. Just try it, said the makeup artist, joining in. Acting is fun. Several girls from the crew entered next, laughing. Yeah, we were just saying that you do a better job than that guy if you took over. Pressed into the chair, at first, Chang Jinxing tried to wriggle his way free, but he didn't want to lose face in front of so many girls, so he tried his best to calm down. Panicking would only embarrass him further. That's so funny. So, what we were thinking is going to happen. The makeup artist quickly applied foundation. The girls giggled, wanting to take photos of him, but then, suddenly, they fell silent. Kong-yu walked in, and the others scattered. Why? Okay. Here's the script, Kong-yu said. Take a look. I've changed the lines for you. You only have 4 lines in this scene. Chang Jinxing's mind went blank as he looked down at the script. Kong-yu watched him in the mirror. I really don't know how to do this. Zhong doesn't either, Kong-yu said. He's even more clueless than you. You can't be worse than him. Just relax and start by memorizing the lines. Oh my God, Chang Jinxing exclaimed. What is even happening? Kong-yu left the makeup room and chanced upon the director and producer in another deep discussion. But Director Ju was the one who recommended him, the director was saying. Should we check with him? What if he's a relative and Director Ju doesn't want him to get into acting? Let me ask. The producer made the call. Oh, hey. Hi, Director Ju. Sorry to bother you again, but we've got a situation right now. One of the supporting actors can't keep up with the role. Jinxing has the looks for it, and we're thinking of letting him try. What? Oh, okay. Off to the side, Kong Yu kept eavesdropping. Director Ju said he referred him as a favor to someone. The producer shot the director a questioning look. Who could it be? While the director and producer looked at each other, a subtle change came over Kong Yu's face. The director asked, what else did he say? He said it's not up to him to decide. We have to ask Jinxing. It should be fine if he's okay with it. Hey, Jinxing! Shouldn't you have asked him in the beginning? Like, okay. Huh. Are you going to ask him? Said the director. With his makeup already done, Chang Jinxing stepped out. He'd changed into a loose-fitting casual suit and looked like a completely different person. Oh man, he groaned. He was clutching the script in one sweaty hand. Are you willing to try? Asked the producer. Director Ju said it's your call. This isn't going to work, Chang Jinxing cried. I'm not prepared at all. He says okay, the producer said. Wait, that is not what he said. That settles it then. The director will guide you through the scene. Let's get ready to continue. Chang Jinxing had no words. Okay. Just what? Poor Chang Jinxing. Guess this is what it's like to be in the industry, actor or not. The director pulled Chang Jinxing aside and patiently walked him through the scene. Kong Yu stayed by his side until it was time for the camera to roll. Chang Jinxing and Kong Yu sat at the bar in the villa, and the camera panned to them. He said, making the no into yes, lol. Right? Yes, I don't remember how it goes in Family Guy, but it kind of reminds me of a Family Guy scene. I think it was Peter who was like, 5 no's and a yes means yes. Is that the tabby? So you aren't missing. Sorry, that was so random. Action! The more I think about it, the worse I feel, Kong Yu began. Chang Jinxing said nothing. In fact, he was nervously rehearsing his lines in silence. He met Kong Yu's eyes, and Kong Yu gave him an inquiring but encouraging look. When a person is lonely, they tend to make a lot of bad decisions, Chang Jinxing recited. Don't wait to. Sorry. Okay, anyway. Not too bad, said the producer. Much better than the earlier guy. It's almost as bad, but at least Kong Yu can play off of him, and they won't talk past each other. Okay. Kong Yu heaved a long sigh. Chang Jinxing was at a loss for what to do. It was awkward to simply sit around doing nothing, so he took the 2 glasses of whiskey from the bartender and set one in front of Kong Yu. Huh, he even knows how to improvise, the producer observed. Cut! Yelled the director. He went over to whisper to Chang Jinxing. The script says you have to look at Kong Yu when you're talking, but you actually have to look at the camera because it's from his perspective now. Chang Jinxing assumed the director was going to chase him off, throw a sack over his head, and beat him up. But no. So, did that mean he did okay with his line? That gave him a confidence boost. They redid the scene, and this time, Chang Jinxing looked at the camera and delivered his lines with a smile. Meanwhile, a dejected Kong Yu took the liquor Chang Jinxing handed him and downed it all. Then, he nudged the whiskey glass toward Chang Jinxing, indicated that he should drink too. Kong Yu's leading him, the producer said. This is going to work. Following Kong Yu's lead, Chang Jinxing drank it and promptly grimaced. Isn't this lemon tea? But his expression was spot on, and the director didn't yell cut. Well, yes, because you're not going to be drinking for real, Chang Jinxing. It's good that it works though. Huh. Kong-yu put his arm around Chang Jinxing's shoulder and slurred drunkenly. Loneliness is the devil. You don't understand if you've never been haunted by the devil. He's seriously handsome. Chang Jinxing gazed blankly into Kong-yu's eyes, forgetting for a moment that they were still filming. Then he snapped back to his senses and shifted his gaze to the bar. So, you've decided to make a deal with the devil? Slightly better, but still not good enough, the director said. Looks good to me, actually, said the producer. Didn't you see that? Their eye contact was interesting. The director glared at the producer, who stopped talking. After the reminder from the screenwriter, her attention had completely shifted from acting to fan service. And now, all she could think about was generating hype and boosting traffic to hit their promotional targets. Chang Jing-sing's acting was awkward, but it was much better than the previous guys. It fell within a tolerable awkwardness range, likely because of Kong Yu's cooperation. In the end, the director gave his approval. Phew! Chang Jing-sing's undershirt was drenched in sweat. Wang Guotao gave him a thumbs up. Ha! Nice work. Chang Jinxing hurried over to watch his scene, and the producer said to the director, Let's reshoot the childhood scene from the other day while everyone's here. That's all for now. I'm heading out. The director had no choice but to go with it. Chang Jinxing was better than his predecessor, at least, so he dropped it for the time being. During lunch break, Chang Jinxing received 2 lunchboxes and 2 drinks, since he was now a camera assistant and an actor. Kong Yu invited him to eat with him, but Chang Jinxing insisted on staying with the camera crew. By afternoon, when they began reshooting the scene from the first day, everyone was exhausted and sleepy. With a bit of prior experience under his belt, Chang Jinxing's second scene went a lot better. He'd already memorized the lines from all those bad takes the previous actor had to redo, too. So he made it through the reshoot without a hitch. Good for him. Once the scene was done, Chang Jinxing quickly removed his makeup and returned to the set as a camera assistant. How many scenes do I have in total? Chang Jinxing asked. Not many, Kongyu said, watching from the side. He rarely concerned himself with watching back his scenes, but Chang Jinxing was so nervous that he came over to provide some support. About 10. Our scenes are pretty minor. The focus is on the leads. Chang Jinxing nodded. A thought occurred to him then. Would he get more pay now that he'd taken on this role? That would be awesome. Since filming began, no one had said anything to him about his salary, and Chang Jinxing couldn't muster up the courage to ask. Sir, that's kind of important, but okay. Also, I just realized I'm still sharing my screen. I should have been in full screen. Although I guess it doesn't matter, but there we are. Okay. Kong Yu leaned in a little. You did good there. Why is my face so wide? Chang Jinxing wondered aloud. The camera will do that, Kong Yu replied. This is already good. Chang Jinxing laughed. He thought he looked a little silly on screen, although he didn't feel that way at all while filming. He cast a sidelong glance at Kong Yu and realized that they were standing too close together, so he took a hasty step away. Where are you staying? Kong Yu asked. I could drop you off tonight. It's okay. I can go back myself, Chang Jinxing said hurriedly. Chang Jinxing thought about calling Zhang Yuwen to fill him in on everything, but filming had wrapped for the day, so he decided to just talk to him and ask him for his opinion in person when he got home. He thought Zhang Yuwen would find it amusing or be happy for him, but that night he realized that he didn't know Zhang Yuwen as well as he thought. Oh, I'm curious. Okay, let's see. What? Zhang Yuwen blurted in disbelief. They had you stepping in to act? What is the production crew thinking? Chang Jinxing tensed, not knowing what to say. I I don't know. I wasn't sure what happened either. They put makeup on me and sent me in front of the camera. Zhang Yuwen went silent for 3 seconds and then started making calls, visibly suppressing his anger. You're gonna blow your cover. Okay. Chan Jinxing found himself stupefied. This was the first time he had ever seen Zhang Yuwen angry, and he would never have expected anger to transform his good natured friend into a different person altogether. What happened on set? Zhang Yuwen demanded into the phone. Chang Jinxing didn't say a word. Why would they send someone with no experience to stand in at the last minute? The person on the other end seemed to be apologizing profusely, and Zhang Yuwen listened with a grim expression on his face. While this was happening, Yanjun, Chunhong, and Zhang Weize came out to see what was happening. Chang Jinxing gestured to him to go back to their rooms. Zhang Yuwen remained seated, and Chang Jinxing, at a loss for what to do, stood next to him. After hearing the apologies, Zhang Yuwen hung up, looking resigned. What's your producer's phone number? Zhang Yuwen asked Chang Jinxing. Uh, don't. Please, Yuwen. I don't want to lose this job. Knowing Chang Jinxing wouldn't dare to give him the number, Zhang Yuwen made another call. Do you know the producer of Spring Love? Can you give me her number? Thanks. Chang Jinxing was dumbfounded. It was only now dawning on him that Zhang Yuwen was probably some kind of big boss behind the scenes. Well, yeah, buddy. You'd already been suspecting him before. Yeah. 1 second. My heating pad turned off. Yeah, at this rate, it's just kind of like Zhang Yuwen, you've totally given yourself away. So let's see. Zhang Yuwen next dialed the producer's number. Hi, Wang Jie. This is Zhang Yuwen. He introduced himself right off the bat. The person on the other end was clearly just as stunned as Chang Jinxing was. I was the one who asked Lincoln to introduce Jinxing to Director Zhu. Oh, so it was you. The producer's voice was audible over the phone. I heard from Jinxing that he was asked to stand in for another actor today. Uh, about that. Palpably nervous now, the producer's voice sounded a lot smaller. Watching on, Chang Jinxing couldn't even begin to describe how shocked he was. As Zhang Yuwen listened to her explanation, he sized Chang Jinxing up, determining the veracity of his words. Good thing I didn't lie to him. Uh-huh. Okay. I got it, Zhang Yuwen said. In that case, I'll ask him first. Yeah, let him decide for himself. I might call you again later. Zhang Yuwen hung up, looked at Chang Jinxing, and heaved a tired sigh. I'm sorry, Yuwen. Guh, Chang Jinxing said. He may have been the same age as Zhang Yuwen, but the guy in front of him had such an imposing aura that Chang Jinxing concluded there was no way he was a proofreader at a publishing house. Do you want to act? Zhang Yuwen asked. Are you mentally prepared to debut? Huh? No, I wasn't really thinking of it like that. They asked me to step in because the original actor was a disaster and his acting sucks. Zhang Yuwen looked into Chang Jinxing's eyes, and Chang Jinxing continued in all earnestness. And then I kind of found it fun after filming these two scenes. I didn't really give it that much thought. If you don't think it's a good idea, I won't go tomorrow. Maybe I'll just quit, even. Zhang Yuwen shook his head. I'm really sorry if this puts you in a difficult position, Chang Jinxing added. You gave me the opportunity, but I didn't appreciate it properly. No, that's not what I meant. For someone who prided himself on having seen and experienced a lot, Zhang Yuwen still fell for the classic playboy trap of taking a step back in order to move forward. I meant it, Chang Jinxing said. I won't go tomorrow. That's not it. Zhang Yuwen wanted to explain, but instead he asked, Are you angry? Nah, I'm not. But I know I must have caused you trouble earlier. Zhang Yuwen looked at Chang Jinxing quietly for a while. Eventually, he said, I should be apologizing to you. I didn't make things clear to you. He took a deep breath, looking as if he was contemplating his words. Do you want to be an actor? Tell me the truth. Do you want to be a star? If so, I can help you. Chang Jinxing looked at Zhang Yuwen, thunderstruck. I. He thought for a moment. Yuwen, are you the boss of a film production company? It's just so funny. No, but that's not important. You have to think it over carefully. What exactly do you want? Let's assume that filming wraps up and you shoot to stardom. It's not that easy, Chang Jinxing said. He wanted to laugh or maybe cry. No one can say for sure what the future will bring, Zhang Yuwen said. Let's just assume that they'll tell you and Kong Yu to play up the bromance for fan service, right? That'll definitely generate hype once the drama airs. The production company needs traffic for their viewership ratings, and the platforms need the clicks. And Kong Yu's talent management agency needs the hype to boost their popularity. Once you stand in the public eye, more and more people will start paying attention to you. Your dark past will be dug up, your family, your secrets, the people you love, and those you've slept with. It will all become fair game. People who've slept with you, men and women, will take any photo they have of you and post it online for attention. They will discuss your dick while they're talking about a dish. The color drained from Chang Jinxing's face. He knew Zhang Yuwen was speaking the truth. Sometimes he saw celebrity scandals online and found them entertaining, but it would be a different story if it happened to him, especially since he'd sent some rather explicit photos of himself to several people over the years. Zhang Yuwen hadn't finished. In exchange, you'll get a lot of money. You might suddenly go from rags to riches and splurge on luxury cars, branded watches, and designer brands, ultimately blowing it all. Of course, this is a once in a lifetime chance at a life many people dream of. You make money with your looks, but one day you might fade into obscurity. No, sooner or later, you will fade into obscurity. Chang Jinxing made a noise of agreement, and Zhang Yuwen continued. All sorts of friends will pop up around you, each with their own motives. Perhaps they'll try to make some money off you, or worse, tempt you with drugs, maybe out of pure jealousy and spite, and drag you through the mud. I get it, Chang Jinxing said. It's true that there are a lot of good actors. I won't deny that. But if you really want to get into acting and be a star, then you have to know a lot of things going in, including what I've said tonight. No, I don't want to be a star. Do you really mean that? Zhang Yuwen said. You'd better think it through. Chang Jinxing nodded, entirely serious, and picked up his camera bag. I want to be a photographer, even if I can't make money off of it. You don't have to call Miss Wang. I'll talk to her myself tomorrow. You sure? Before he'd heard him out, Zhang Yuwen was almost certain that Chang Jinxing wanted to get into acting. He'd seen the same excited expression on many people's faces, people who yearned for a glamorous life and hoped that, after their drama aired, there would be swarms of fans waiting for them at the airport and screaming crowds wherever they went. They dreamt not only of astronomical paychecks, but of having the entertainment industry wrapped around their finger, too. But the reality was that most of them would remain unknown, unable to get a taste of that tempting fruit. The rest might be in the limelight for a while, only to ultimately wind up as a tool for others, falling from their pedestals to become laughing stocks that people gossiped about over tea or dinner. Having money is great, no doubt about that, Chang Jinxing said, but I don't want to give up photography. I want to stay true to myself. To me, freedom is what matters the most. And that is the end of that chapter. Well, that was quite interesting. So I'm not even gonna lie. It was quite fun to see Zhang Yuwen go from like this fun, loving person to like director mode and very protective mode. I'll say protective friend mode because they're all friends. They all live together. They're all friends. And it's like he probably wouldn't give this advice to some other newbie in the industry He would just do his job as a director. But this is Chang Jinxing, and he's like, my guy, if this is what you want to do, you need to know what you're signing up for. And so I'm glad that he kind of flipped his lid. But also, like, you've given away your identity to Chang Jinxing, right? Even if you haven't told him exactly who you are, he knows you're not just a proofreader. Like, you've completely given yourself away. There is no coming back from this. So I'm just curious as to what will come of that. If there will be another conversation where Chang Jinxing is like, okay, sir, you need to tell me who you are because I know you're not a proofreader. But that was so cool. That was fun. I liked this chapter. That was very nice. Also, I don't remember my very first acting experience, but yeah, it's nerve-wracking. Also, it was funny when Chang Jinxing was like, why does my face look wider? Kongyu was very much right. The camera does do that to you. Everyone looks bigger on camera. That's just a given. Which I feel like he should know that, though, as a photographer. But okay, whatever. Chapter 33 is where we are. And hello to whoever just joined. I saw the number go up. So, chapter 33. The harsh winter had yet to pass. Ugh, winter. It was the coldest month of the year. The landscape was frigid and desolate, shrouded in a fog that seemed to envelop everything whole. The ginkgo trees by the riverside slumbered in the chilly wind. Even the flow of the river had slowed down some. In the pale daylight, pedestrians in woolen hats and thick scarves held cups of milk tea and hot coffee as they trudged wearily toward refuge. On this particular morning, Yuwen woke up very early. He handed Xiao-chee her milk bottle, then went to the bathroom to brush his teeth, shave, and examine himself in the mirror. Meanwhile, Zhang Weize was still in bed, sleeping under a thick quilt. The thin layer of mist had already formed on the floor-to-ceiling window in his room. Chahng was in the gym doing his morning run, while Chang Jinxing was frying eggs and making coffee in the kitchen. Jarred awake by his alarm clock, Zhang Yuwen blearily put a record on and dragged himself zombie-like to the shower. Suh-chun, by contrast, was all dressed and ready. He drove his car out of the garage and sent a message to Zhang Yuwen, inviting him out for dinner that night. I ain't even gonna lie, I forgot about Suh-chun. I mean, but of course, he hasn't been mentioned in these chapters, so. Last night, Chahng whispered. Chang Jinxing looked up with a smile. Good morning. Morning, Zhang Yuwen said, coming down the stairs. Huh? Chunhong and Chang Jinxing were both surprised for a moment before they remembered it was a Tuesday. On Tuesdays, Zhang Yuwen went to the publishing house. You're up early, Chunhong noted. Yeah. Is there breakfast for me? I'll make it now, said Chang Jinxing. Zhang Yuwen made his own coffee while Yuwen bade them farewell, holding Xiao-chee in his arms. Yuwen's early today, Yuwen said. As he put on his shoes in the foyer, Zhang Yuwen took Xiao-chee from him and gave her a peck on the cheek. Bye-bye. That's so cute. Why can't you two just be together? Okay. Zhang Yuwen was going to be running around for almost the whole day, including his trip down to the publishing house. Right now, he was at the printer, sorting out the manuscript, when Chunhong picked up the lease agreement he'd printed earlier. Have you decided on the location? Zhang Yuwen asked him. Yup. Chunhong put on his motorcycle helmet. He was ready to sign the contract with the landlord. Are you and Jinxing okay? They had all felt the force of Zhang Yuwen's fury the previous night. It's nothing, Zhang Yuwen said. Jinxing, do your best at work today. Roger. Chang Jinxing threw him a parting shot and left too. You too. Love ya. Having seen them off, Zhang Yuwen faced his empty house and realized rather abruptly that at some point they'd all become family to him. As he rode his motorcycle, Chunhong looked back, concerned. Everything okay between you and Yuwen? He asked. We're fine, Chang Jinxing reassured him. He got me some work, but I didn't do a good job of it, so he got angry. Yuwen is really a great person. Chang Jinxing said nothing. He didn't tell Chen Hong what he had inferred about Zhang Yuwen. He knew how to be discreet. Jinxing? Chen Hong prompted. Yeah, Chang Jinxing replied, feeling a little apprehensive. He's always so generous. He changed my life. I think it's safe to say he changed all our lives, Chen Hong said. With his printed manuscript in hand, Zhang Yuan stood in front of the photo wall, which was now adorned with the photos from their hot spring trip. It wasn't their expressions when the fireworks went off that captivated him the most, although Chang Jingxing did capture the moment beautifully, but the handful of photos taken during their meal times. In the first few shots, Chang Jingxing had taken some close ups of Zhang Yuan. What was I thinking about then? Suh-chun? There were also individual shots of each roommate. Everyone was happy, although their eyes each told a different story about their wishes. Yanjun and Huosichan were drinking and whispering to each other, so plastered their eyes were glazed and unfocused. The last few photos were from the second day. There was no drinking this time, and Chang Jingxing had taken a group shot of them at another meal. Someone had cracked a joke, and everyone was doubled over laughing. It was chaos. Chang Jingxing had captured that moment perfectly. There were also photos of everyone from their late night game of Truth or Dare. Huo Chun was looking at his phone, and Chen Hong had wrapped himself in his blanket. Yanjuan was glancing back at the door, where Zheng Weize was deep in thought and Zhang Yuwen was laughing. Zhang Yuwen stood in the dining room, staring silently at the photo wall. It chronicled his life, which had practically been turned upside down in the past 3 months. Yanjuan said he changed everyone, but Zhang Yuan really felt that he was the one who had been transformed. Compared to what his roommates had given him, his own contributions seemed negligible. No, sir. They are far from negligible. Ask them. Anyway, thank you guys, Zhang Yuan thought. Then he bound up his manuscript, put it in his bag, and went to knock on Zheng Weize's door. Zheng Weize, get up. A lazy, complaining sound came from within. Zhang Yuwen went to the foyer to put his shoes on, calling, Jinxing made breakfast for you. Oh. Zhang Weize opened the door and poked his head out. Are you going out too? Oh, right. It's Wednesday. I mean, it's Tuesday. No, just took a different day. A car was already waiting outside for him. Zhang Yuwen blew Zhang Weize a kiss and left. As usual, they arrived at the meeting point for Chang Jingxing's job, and Chen Hong gave him a sandwich. Break a leg today. Chang Jingxing waved goodbye and got on the bus. The director came over and sat beside him. Miss Wang told me that Zhang Yuwen gave her a call yesterday. Was he the one who introduced you to the company? Uh, yeah. After a brief pause, Chang Jingxing gave the director a seated bow. I'm so sorry for the trouble I caused. The director waved his hands and put a friendly arm around Chang Jingxing's shoulder. We were partly to blame for not clarifying earlier. I was the one who didn't make things clear, said Chang Jinxing. No, no, none of that. So, what does Yuwen think? He doesn't want you to act, right? Oh, he told me to decide for myself. The director nodded and gave Chang Jinxing an inquiring look. When Chang Jinxing didn't say anything else, he prompted. So, what do you think? Are you willing to take on the role? Has a suitable actor been found yet? The director frowned. That's the production crew's responsibility. We can always find someone else if you don't wish to continue. There are 17 scenes, right? Chang Jinxing asked. He didn't mind helping out, and besides, if he quit, the earlier two scenes would have to be reshot yet again, which would put a lot of strain on his colleagues. I can't stay until the end, but I really have no interest in being an actor. I'm sorry. I can stay until the end, but I really have no interest in being an actor. I understand. The director slapped his own thigh. We appreciate it. We'll make sure you're fairly compensated too. Thank you for helping out. You're welcome. Chang Jinxing murmured, embarrassed. He was just thankful the director didn't scold him. Of course he wouldn't. Not knowing you were referred by Zhang Yuwen. The crew got into position. The coordinator had reshuffled the scenes again the previous day, hoping to complete filming for the childhood friend scenes a little earlier. The producer was feeling a little angsty about it all, too. After all, she had to make a living in this industry, and Zhang Yuwen was a big name director. He could make her life difficult if she provoked him. So, are you up for it? The producer asked Chang Jinxing. Chang Jinxing had thought about it all night, and he decided that he should finish what he started. Zhang Yuwen was right, and the crew did need him. He'd do it as a one-time favor. Yeah, he said, I'll do it if you need me, but I really don't want anything as big as a debut. I'm just helping out. Yes, yes, I understand. I'll make sure the company keeps the fan service low key. That was a relief. Thank you so much. Mm, I don't know. After Chan Xing had his makeup done, Kong Yu came into the dressing room. He still didn't know exactly what had happened between Zhang Yuan and Miss Wang, but he had sensed a slight shift in the producer's attitude. Seeing Chang Jinxing diligently memorizing his lines, he pulled a chair over and sat beside him, wrapping one arm around his shoulders. You said I do have some doubts concerning all that. Yes, I my doubts are like all the way up here through the roof because I don't know. It might be just me and my overthinking. No, you're not. It's not you. You're not overthinking. This video I saw on TikTok from this guy I follow, he was like, are you an overthinker? Of course you're overthinking. But no, you're not really overthinking. It's just everybody else is underthinking. You're not overthinking. You're thinking the proper amount. Anyway, let me do this. Oh, okay, let's see. Everything okay? Kong Yu asked. Chang Jinxing smiled, meeting his eyes, and Kong Yu patted him on the shoulder. Looks like you got some decent sleep last night. Are we starting? Chang Jinxing asked. Not just yet. You know, the first time I acted, I was even more nervous than you. I wanted to die when I watched it later, said Kong Yu. Chang Jinxing gave an exaggerated laugh. I'm one of those slow learners who isn't really suited for all this, but I gradually got the hang of it. I gotta say, though, you're a natural on camera. Chang Sing nodded and returned to memorizing his lines. Then someone called for him, and he went to film. He was shooting a scene where his and Kong Yu's characters played billiards and, as usual, discussed Kong Yu's character's relationship problems. Chang Jing-xing's character had to keep comforting him. The crew had brought in a teleprompter for the day, no doubt in preparation for the newcomer, Chang Jing-xing. Now that he'd read through the characters' profiles, Chang Jinxing knew he was playing a Casanova who had lots of experience in the romance department and could offer Kong Yu plenty of love advice. But that was all. He had no romance plotline or arc of his own. He was functionally an NPC. In this kind of romance drama for young people, the supporting cast backed the main and secondary male leads, who served the female lead. The entire setup was intended just to create a sweet, romantic ambiance, and that was all it needed to do. With the previous day's experience under his belt, Chang Jinxing was able to portray his Casanova more authentically. Yeah, and you're just a Casanova in real life anyway, right? The character's expressions and actions were second nature, but midway through filming, an unexpected visitor arrived on set. Everyone was stunned. To think Zhang Yuwen had come in person. Oh, shoot. And he was accompanied by an industry veteran, Director Ju, whom the producer had mentioned at the beginning. Oh my God, the producer exclaimed. Director Ju, Yuwen Lauscher, what brings you here? He said, I knew it. He would never stay away from this. Yuwen said, "You thought this was over." That's why he got up early to handle his manuscript business quick so he could come here. Oh, I don't know why, but I'm suddenly scared for everybody. to make his big to make his big entrance. Holy guacamole. The big bad wolf of the set. Yes, he is here. And I'm here for it. Let's see what happens. Director Juice smiled. Zhang came to our studio today for coffee, and you guys came up during our conversation, so we decided to pay you a visit and check things out. Please carry on, Zhang Yuwen said, also smiling. Don't mind us. Okay. That's so imposing. Don't mind us. Meanwhile, everyone very much minding. Reset right pretends to believe it. Okay. The entire film production crew kept sneaking peeks at them. Even the director was too startled by their visit to focus on the filming. Jinxing, however, remained oblivious and continued to play his role diligently. That's Jinxing? Director Ju asked with another smile. The production crew brought chairs over for both of them, plus an extra one that they set beside them. Zhang Yuwen waited for Director Ju to take his seat first before sitting down to watch the filming. Behind them, the producer remained standing. In front of the camera, Chang Jinxing pocketed the pool ball and raised an inquiring eyebrow at Kong Yu. He had a line at this part, but he felt it unnecessary. Kong Yu, taking his cue, adopted a hesitant look. Chang Jinxing said, "You serious?" It was interesting to watch Chang Jinxing in action. His acting was a little awkward, but it was much better than Zhang Yuwen had thought. Huh. He's basically suitable for the role, Zhang Yuwen murmured in surprise. You don't say, Director Ju grinned. He's even adding some depth to the character. Zhang Yuwen and Director Ju laughed. Wang Jie sure has an eye for talent, Zhang Yuwen remarked. What's the story about? Director Ju asked. No idea. Yesterday was the first time Jinxing told me anything about this drama. Is there a script? The producer showed them the script. Zhang Yuwen turned to the characters' profiles, and he and Director Ju read through them. Oh, he's a playboy, Director Ju said. The younger generation would say fuckboy, Zhang Yuwen told him. Honestly, Jinxing is practically playing himself. He's like this off screen too. Once the scene was complete, Chang Jinxing heaved a sigh of relief. He saw the director beckoning him over and grew uneasy, and then startled when he caught sight of Zhang Yuwen. Yuwen, why are you here? Zhang Yuwen smiled at him. This is Director Ju. We're here to check you guys out. He said, too many details, dude. Too many details. Right. We have Jinxing to thank for standing in and saving our asses, the producer said from behind them. Hello, Director Ju, Chang Jinxing said immediately, though he didn't recognize this veteran director. Zhang Yuwen motioned for Chang Jinxing to sit beside him, and Chang Jinxing glanced around before taking his seat with some embarrassment. First time acting? Director Ju asked, amused. He's asking you, Zhang Yuwen told Chang Jinxing cheerfully. Pretty much, Chang Jinxing said respectfully. I did 2 scenes yesterday. Director Ju made a noise of acknowledgement. Chang Jinxing turned to Zhang Yuwen, worried he might have been offended. Yuwen, I thought more about it after we talked. They really do need someone to play this role. You don't have to explain, Zhang Yuwen said. It's fine. A man should always finish what he started. This morning, I had another look at the photos you took, and it's obvious now that you won't give photography up. I was too harsh on you yesterday, and for that, I'm sorry. Tears inexplicably pricked the backs of Chang Jinxing's eyes. Afraid he might tear up, he turned his head away and nodded almost numbly. Zhang Yuan put his hand on the back of Chang Jinxing's chair and turned to smile at Director Zhu. His portrait work is marvelous. Every photo tells a story. Many successful directors start out as photographers, Director Zhu said. Every position in the film production crew has its own strengths. The production team, the actors, even the screenwriters, they can all go on to shoot films, wouldn't you say? Yeah, said Zhang Yuan, smiling. Actors turned directors have their own strengths. He's very handsome, and that's a fact, Director Zhu added. He is, among us ordinary folks. I'd give him a 9 out of 10, but it's normal for the camera to detract a point or two. Some guys have wide faces or too much space between their eyes, and their photos usually get retouched. His looks are on par with Kong Yu's. He'll be a hit with the young girls. Zhang Yuan gave Chang Jinxing a playful tap on the back of his head. He's complimenting you. Thanks. I'm sorry. Zhang Yuan is just a menace right now. Because on the previous page, he's like, he's talking to you. He's asking you. He's complimenting you. I feel like he's just got Zhang Yuan as a puppet on the strings. He's like, he's asking you, answer him. He's like he's asserting that authority now, you know? He's so awkward right now. And Jahng is just playing around. Right? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's keep reading. It's just so funny. Thanks. Chang Jinxing was overwhelmed by the praise. He wanted to see the scene he just filmed, but he couldn't leave. Zhang Yuan saw through him, though, and he nudged him forward to signal that he could go. Watching his earlier performance, Chang Jinxing realized they were right. The close-up shots exposed his flaws and made his features wider. He'd always been told that his face was flawlessly photogenic with no bad angles, but on camera, he was no match for Kong Yu's refined features. To Director Zhu, Zhang Yuwen said, I'm writing a novel. Oh? Could you show me when it's published? It's so hard to make that happen these days. In fact, I'm heading to the publishing house today to receive critiques. It's a completely different circle, Director Zhu said. If you're looking to do pure literature, not just writing an entertaining book for the mass market, it'll be tough. Yeah, man, Zhang Yuan sighed. Kong Yu, who had been watching them, wanted to approach. His manager kept urging him on, and finally, he mustered up his courage to go over to them. Hello, Director Zhu and Mr. Zhang Yuwen, Kong Yu said, having practiced his greeting smile. This was even more nerve-wracking than acting. Hello, said Zhang Yuwen. You must be Kong Yu. Director Zhu gave Kong Yu a nod, and as Zhang Yuwen took the initiative to shake his icy, trembling hand, Kong Yu tried hard to smile. Thank you for looking out for Jinxing, Zhang Yuwen said earnestly. Kong Yu had been speculating earlier. Industry rumors had it that Zhang Yuwen had never been married, and with his refined demeanor, he gave off gay vibes to Kong Yu. In that case, it was possible that Chang Jinxing was his boyfriend? No, he had to be. Okay. He's doing a great job, Kong Yu said. His photography is even better, Zhang Yuwen told him. It's full of life. I just wanted him to join the crew to learn about cinematography. I certainly never expected him to stand in as a replacement actor at the last minute. Kong Yu did well earlier, too, Director Zhu put in. He just gets a little distracted sometimes. Zhang Yuwen and Director Zhu burst out laughing. He said, even worse than he's definitely a gossiper. Embarrassed and not catching their meaning, Kong Yu opened his mouth to humbly accept their advice, but then Zhang Yuwen added, that's because we're here. We should stop being nuisances. Let's go eat some fish instead. No way, the producer chimed in. We're thrilled to have you both visit the set. Zhang Yuwen got up with a pleasant expression, and the director and producer hurried over to see him off. Kong Yu tagged along behind them. It was then that the female lead came running out, having just finished with the makeup artist. Director Ju, Yuwen Lauscher, I'm so sorry. I was in the middle of getting my makeup done. I kept urging the artist. It's fine, Zhang Yuwen assured her. No worries. I'll look forward to watching your show. Everyone, minus the absent male lead, laughed and exchanged a few more pleasantries before seeing both of them off the set. Zhang Yuwen opened his passenger seat door for Director Ju and then took the driver's seat. He rolled down the window of his Bentley and, just before he left, said to Chang Jinxing, "Do your best with the filming." It was then Chang Jinxing realized that perhaps this was the entertainment industry that Zhang Yuwen had warned him about. That's the end of chapter 33. And boy, oh man, that was that was highly entertaining. I think this is my favorite chapter of this series totally thus far. I can't with those people. Chapter 33 is my favorite chapter out of all the chapters of this entire Danmei series. So freaking good. I don't know. These chapters were fun. These chapters were very, very fun. It's crazy because I originally thought we were going to get more on Jung Weize. I thought we would be getting to meet Whiskey. But the tables turned, the point of view turned to Chang Jinxing and Zhang Yuwen. And it's been fun. This has been really fun. Oh my gosh. I don't know. A part of me wants to keep reading, but then the other part of me is like, no, just like slow your roll. Go chill, go eat, go watch the new episode of My Hero Academia, and then continue watching Hunter x Hunter, read this new fanfic that I'm supposed to be reading. So yeah, I'm gonna calm down on my excitement because I don't want to like start reading the chapter and then lose my gusto midway because I don't ever want to stop halfway through a chapter. Like I know that there are some people that do that on YouTube when they read, they'll just read, I don't know, maybe a certain amount of pages or a certain amount of time. And even if they're in the middle of a chapter, they'll stop and then pick it up next time. But I'm just really weird. I like to always make sure we're finishing a chapter and not stopping in the middle. Maybe that'll change in the future. But yeah. So you said, which was, it turned into a funny side of the group, which was refreshing. It was very refreshing. I think we've gotten a lot of laughs from this series thus far, but this was next level. Not even gonna lie. So I don't really have anything to say about that chapter. I think it was just very entertaining. One thing I did love, I already said though, is I just loved to see this newer side of Zhang Yuwen. Or not the newer side. This is his side. It's just that he's been faking for us the whole time, you know. But to see what he's actually like when he's in his element and to see him hold that authority, it's so cool. It's so sexy. Like, oh my gosh. And there weren't any pictures in these chapters either, so I don't have anything to show, but so you guys can see the pictures from before, I want to show them to you. Yes, he feels more like himself, much more natural. So here was, just so you can see, the photo of Chang Jinxing and Kong Yu, for those who don't have the book. This is the scene where he was sitting on his phone doing stuff. So this is Chang Jinxing and that's Kong Yu. Look at Kong Yu's face card. Look at that. Yeah, he's hot. I ain't even gonna lie. Kong Yu looks great. So there's that. And then the only other picture that I've come across thus far is this one with Chen Hong and Mr. Elite. So Mr. Elite looks like, well, we can't really see because his face is being hidden a little bit, but he looks like he's probably a cutie. I mean, he's got glasses on, so that automatically makes it better. Yeah. And then Chen Hong's physique looks pretty nice. Anyway, this is Chen Hong right here. This is I'm trying to this is Chang Jinxing on the back of the motorcycle. This is Jung Weize. This is Yuwen. So now you can really see his skin is a lot different from the rest of them. And then um I am going to assume that this is Zhang Yuwen. I only say that because of the laptop and the papers or whatever. So he's near Yuwen. Um, and then, well, Yuwen is behind him. And then I'm just going to assume that this is Suh-chun. Hold up. Yeah. So all these guys are hot. Anyway, that's everyone. You said those men are all darn great. Yes. You said, let it surprise us. So yeah, I just like seeing him in Zhang Yuwen in his element, and I look forward to the day where everyone knows who he really is, everyone he's living with. Like, I get him hiding his identity and everything, but I don't know. I feel like they've gotten to a point where like none of them would use, I don't think so, try to use Zhang Yuwen for his identity. So I don't think things would change that much is all I'm saying. Like I feel the only reason why there's a slight change between him and Chang Jinxing is simply because Chang Jinxing is in his field right now. He's acting and stuff and he's doing something because Zhang Yuan gave him an opportunity. But I feel like if the rest of them just know, nothing's going to come of that. It's just gonna be like, oh wow, knew you were someone great. And maybe Jung Weize would be like, darn it, I should have kept my sights on you. So I'm ready for them to find out, you know? Um, now that's all I have to say. That's all left I have to say about this book. I do have a couple of updates, I think, but not really. I might also just put them in a separate video or post. So I looked at everyone's comments on YouTube and on Patreon as far as what I should read for December since we are way ahead of schedule. And the Don Mace book that got the most recommendations was actually Astrolabe Rebirth, another Fei Tian Xiang. So I'll be reading more Fei Tian Xiang, which I normally would not be trying to read the same author again right after I just finished reading that author. But that's what we're doing. It's about 370 something pages or whatever. So we're going to read that. But technically, that would take me only 2 weeks to read, which means there's still the second half of December. So I was like, well, guess I got to read another one book thing as well. So someone recommended The Imperial Uncle by, what was it, Dafeng Guagua. And I know I have the fan translation of After the Disabled War God Became My Concubine or something like that. I had read the first two chapters and it seemed really interesting like months ago, but this was when I was going to visit my grandpa. And so I wasn't in the right frame of mind to read it with my book group. So I stopped altogether. So I thought about picking that up and reading that. It's very rare that I read fan translations. Like I read Devil Venerable Also Wants to Know. So I was like, maybe I'll read this one, even though I know it was recently, wasn't this recently picked up by Seven Seas? Nevertheless, that doesn't really matter. Uh, so yes, I'm trying to figure out what the second thing is that I'm going to read. So I guess that part's not really an announcement. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking really hard about what to do. uh, but yeah, after I read this Fei Tian Xiang, then we have another one. We'll figure out what happens in the last 2 weeks of December. And then we get into next year where we start with Tang Chang, I believe, and then we're on Fei Tian Xiang again, eventually, once we get to Legend of Exorcism. So after we read Legend of Exorcism, we probably won't be touching Fei Tian Xiang again for a minute because that's so much Fei Tian. So, yeah. And then I know some people had also recommended Beauty's Blade, which was in a WAY-dzuh. And people, even on my TikTok, have asked, "Are you gonna read WAY-dzuh or just stick to Don May?" I am sticking to Don May. I think I said it before in a live video, but just in case I haven't, I'm saying it here. I don't want to do WAY-dzuh. Not because it's WAY-dzuh, but because I don't like voicing females at all. Like every story that I've read when I had to voice more than one female, I hated it. For example, Devil Venerable also wants to know. Loved the story, but I hated having to voice Bailey Qimiao, uh, Qingxue Elder, or Cong Qiushui, whatever her name was, and Shu Yan. It was awful. I hated it so much. I don't know why I'm so uncomfortable and why it feels so difficult to voice female voices. And I am a female. It's so much easier to voice guys. Is that weird? Does it even make sense? I need to figure out why that is. Anyway, so I won't be reading any by her. Just throwing that out there. You said you can't wait for Legend. I'm super excited about Legend of Exorcism. Of all the things that we are reading next year, I am the most excited about that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm very I won't say I'm very excited about reading Ballad of Sword and Wine. I'm just anticipating it because I've heard so many good things about it. And then I know I'm very excited to reread How to Survive as a Villain because I read the translation and that was really good. So, yeah, I'm most excited about How to Survive as a Villain and Legend of Exorcism. I have to reread the summary for Kaleidoscope of Death because I think that just sounded super, super cool. And I'm like, yeah, I want to read that. I watched the anime once and I'm pretty into the story. Yes, same. That's how I found out it was a danme because I saw it on YouTube. Not YouTube, excuse me, not YouTube, Netflix. And I was like, this is good. And I was looking for the third season and then saw it's a book. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I knew what you meant when you said Donghua. I mean, Donghua is just Chinese anime. Like, basically, I mean, people can have their arguments about, no, it's not. Yes, it is. We're just going to leave it. Yes, it is. Okay. We know what they're doing. Okay. So there's that. Let's see. So, because there was something else I needed to say. Well, it's not that I needed to say it, but that I wanted to say it. So, for the new year, it looks like it's just going to win because there haven't been any more votes on it. But for the new year, when we start reading Ballad of Sword and Wine, it looks like on the side, I will be reading Copper Coins because it has the most votes. So, yeah, we're going to do that. I've got to buy those books at some point. But yeah, we're going to be reading Copper Coins, or I'll be reading it on the side until I've almost finished it. And then I'll start releasing the readings for you guys to listen to. So I think that's really all I have to say. Nothing else really important. That's all I have to say. Unless you have a question for me, then we're good to go here. I had fun. Killua took the nap the whole time, but he had fun as well. So have a good day, and we'll see you. Bye bye. Ending the live session. Da-na-na.